So today I'm here with Paige.
Hi.
Me and Paige have been working together for 6 months.
Yeah, just over.
Just over 6 months. And how much have you lost in terms of weight?
13 kilos.
13 kilos, yeah. And sort of we started initially, I remember our first call, and it was very much you just come back from holiday.
Yeah.
You'd sort of hit the screw it button on holiday.
Yeah.
So talk me through what was the initial reason that you actually jumped on a call with me?
So to be fair, it's been probably 10 years in the making, doing all the different fad diets, as you know, all those kind of testing all the things, thinking I knew what I was doing. Some of it would work, then the weight would go back on, go more. And I was actually speaking to another online coach, but an American one. And he was messaging me every day. I was like, why don't you say yes, go on a call, do this. And I think you messaged me, I liked something on your page and you messaged me, and it was real like chill. And it was just like, if you want to have a chat, I'm here. Like, is there anything I can do to help? So do you know what? Like, this is what you want from a coach, from any person. It's not bombarding you trying to sell. So that kind of started the call, and then I still wasn't sure, as you know.
Yeah. There was a lot of almost coaxing, you know, but as I said, we got to the point where you were like, let's do it. And obviously the rest is history, you know? So obviously after working together for 6 months, it's a long time. As I said, this is the second time that we've met in person. Yeah. Actually, the first time I was extremely drunk.
Yes.
And I don't actually remember.
Yes.
Very professional, yeah. Because you texted me the next morning and was like, oh, it's lovely seeing you last night. And I went,
just saw you out. Yeah.
Well, I don't remember that. And I was like,
that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah. But so after 6 months, so explain the differences from where you were to now in terms of physical changes, health-wise, lifestyle, just how you feel day to day.
I think you know that I find it really difficult because the changes are massive, but it's still hard to see them yourself. So obviously the physical side of it, I've lost a lot of weight. I feel different. My muscles feel different. I feel like I'm using them more in the exercises that I'm doing. The confidence has increased. My attitude with food, it's not gone the opposite way where I'm obsessive and not eating anything, but it's a healthy level where I think about what I'm eating, and I can go out and have meals out, but consciously I would make sensible choices or that kind of side of it. So that's probably the biggest change. And then the other thing that I know we've spoke about is like using the scales, because that would be the thing whenever I was doing this before, is I would get on the scales once a week and you wouldn't see any difference, and then you'd be disheartened and then you'd stop and you wouldn't carry on. Whereas now I weigh every day, but my attitude to that, I don't weigh myself and think, oh, I've put on a kilo overnight, this is the worst thing ever, I can't eat anything today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
That's one of the biggest changes that I think I appreciate from this.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like the eating side of things was definitely something that obviously on the C90 we worked on a lot, and I worked on with all my clients, but you almost, because you were doing it beforehand and you were like, I've tried this, it doesn't work, Quinn. You're telling me to do pretty much the same thing. And I was like, look, we just got to sort of tweak things, make sure and even now, like, we're still having voice notes and I'm like, I'll try this. You're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Like, there's so many different things that obviously I've done over my health and fitness career or like my own personal journey, you know, that just without even thinking, I'm like, oh, everyone knows that. Whereas like, it's just these little things that you pick up over a long time. But no, that's great to hear. So was there anything about the actual program itself that surprised you or that you didn't expect in terms of the coaching?
I think it's probably how much you actually invest in your clients, because I think it's one of those things where you never really know, like you meet someone online, I don't know you from anyone else, and you kind of think this is going to go one way or the other. It's either going to work really well, which it did, which you kind of don't expect, or it's going to go the other way and you're going to take my money, message me once a week, it's not going to work and it's going to waste your time. And you never really know what's going to happen until it does. So I think that's what surprised me most when like I signed up and then a couple of days later you were like, okay, you ready? Have you thought about your food for the week? Have you prepped? Are you it was kind of like, we haven't even started yet and you're messaging me. But like, that's what I needed, and that's what I like about it, is like
for
you
sure.
being there.
I think when the week you started, I think I even went on holiday.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you being so. I felt I was literally like, I've had Paige start up. I'm going straight on holiday. She's going to think, oh my God, what a rubbish coach. But I was trying to obviously, and you were like, no, I'll just mess you in your back. And I was like, oh my God, like I stress about those things, you know. So,
but I think because you'd set me up before you went away for like the Sunday, and then I had a week on my own, that I didn't necessarily need you texting me. Like the first week, you're kind of always more motivated and ready to go. That it was fine without you being there every day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that people, I'm in a constant battle against these coaches that are just trying to get people in the doors and then just leave them to their own devices. Like it's so tough for someone who says like one-to-one high quality coaching, and then someone else can say that, they take your money and then they don't talk to you, and you're like, they don't even know your name. Like as I said, we've spoken every single Monday to Friday for the last 6 months. Yeah. And that's why I said it's like the third time meeting in person. It's like we're sort of having a conversation like, what?
It's weird.
but at the same time, like there's so much. And that, but the reason you've got so much out of it, and this is something that I always tell people, is it's because you've communicated every single thing that has happened to you. Yeah. Do you know? So whatever's happened day to day, I know about it. Do you know? And that's so much better for me as a coach, because that shows that you actually care, that you want to actually improve. You want to tell me what's going on, because you know it takes me 2 seconds to move across on True Coach. All you need to say is, just, can you please move it? And I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. I'm at home, so what else have I got to do? Do you know? It's my job. So that's a massive thing. So this is a bit of a jokey one. So obviously, the first few weeks when you were giving me in my check-in form, for anyone else that's wondering, in my check-in form, I asked, what's your rating out of 10 for the program? And Paige would always give me a 9, and I'm obviously a perfectionist, so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I can't get a 10, and I'm sitting here going, and I remember you said to me, you said, you will get that 10 at some point. Yeah. And it's almost like, I'm not going to give you it, because then that means there's nothing else for you to do, you know? So what would you say took my rating from a 9 and just being that? What was the week? Can you remember the week that pushed you up to a 10, or is it just the long period of time being there and holding you accountable and making sure that you're progressing? Yeah. I mean,
It was probably because you just kept asking me all the time.
Every
week. It was just like, come on, when am I going to get that 10? I was like, I'm just going to give it to him to get him off my back.
Yeah. I'm sending you special emails like, Paige, make sure that there's a 1 and a 0 at the end of this.
If it's not a 10 this week, you're out.
Yeah. I'll up your calories, everyone.
No, I think it was just the fact of, because the question was, what's the score out of 10? And then it was, what can I do more? Yeah. So I didn't have anything. I think from then on, it's been NA in that question. Yeah. So I couldn't not give you a 10, because I can't give you anything else that you could do more. Yeah. Like obviously there's day-to-day movement of stuff, but at the same time, like that's what for each of my clients, and that's what people think, like the clients like yourself who give me everything, I will give everything back. Yeah. And that's why the people who I have the best relationships with, who I message every single day, who reply to, they're the ones who get the best results. The people who just sign up, and some people, I don't know why they sign up, because I'm like, you've barely spoken to me. Like I just don't get it. But some people like the daily accountability, which is obviously what has got you to where you are. Yeah. But some people can deal without it. And obviously, like with my new program, that's what I'm moving more towards, not the daily messaging, but just if I'm there if you need, you know? Yeah. So the question next is, why did the C90 work for you in comparison to anything you've tried before? So you said that in the past, you've done all the different fad diets, you tried everything. And on our initial sales or sort of consultation call, you said, I'm doing everything, Quinn. What is it that I'm doing wrong? And I said, figure it out. So what is it about the C90 that sort of was different to anything else? I think to start with, like, obviously it's a bit of a joke, but there's money involved there. Mm-hmm. So there is that first thing that you're sort of like, you're wasting your time and your money if you're not doing this. If it's like a 20 quid gym membership, it's kind of not so bad. So that was kind of like the startup, was like the first month or so, was like, you need to do this. But then after that, I think it's been the fact that you have the accountability and you have someone there to check in with, and you have that, if you go to like, I don't know, Weight Watchers or Slimming World and you've put on weight that week, they'll go, oh, don't worry, you'll do it next one. It's a little bit like mollycoddling you, and you're kind of like, oh, whatever. Whereas when you speak to you about it and you're reasonable, you're not going to go, no, don't go out, don't do this.
Yeah.
But there's kind of that thing there,
the sacrifice that you have to make if you want to.
It's like, if you do this, it's going to work. And I think this is probably the first thing that I've put all my trust in and been like, let's give this 100% and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's the thing with like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, like it's a money-making scam. That's all it is. Yeah. They'll charge you if you lose too much weight, which means that you'll leave the business too early, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Which, as soon as you hear that, as a person who runs a business, I'm like, yeah, that's all they don't care about anything but the business, you know. Yeah. So, but it, like, obviously going on the C90, I said to you, and I remember I said, we're going to sit down and we're going to figure it out. All you got to do is keep an eye on across all like every single thing. Because the amount of times where people go, oh, I do this, I do that. And I go, okay, you're doing these two things. And like, oh no, I didn't even think about that. It's like, yeah, they all come into play, like sleep and stress levels and just the amount of times that you go too hard and then you fall off. And there's just obviously that keeping the balance right.
And I think it was that like naivety, because if you Google it and you say like, oh, how do I lose weight or whatever, and they set you like a 1,500 calorie diet, which is what we've been doing, but it's not the right things.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the training is all cardio, and that again isn't the right thing. So it was trying to put those two together and make it work. Yeah. So you feel like you're doing what you should be doing, but actually it's not right.
Yeah, and this is what I go through, this like a 1,500 calorie diet for one person who thinks that they're eating the right things, compared to actually if you eat clean and eat the right things, you can eat 1,500 calories and be full as anything.
I didn't realise how much food I'm eating at the moment. Yeah. Like, we've upped my calories by like 100 or 200, but I'm eating all day. People at work are like, you having a second lunch? I'm like, I'm fueling my body.
Exactly. That's what it's about. It's about fueling the body. Well, moving on to this sort of is a good segue. So how are your nutritional habits or your relationship towards food different? How is it different now compared to when you first came to me for help?
It's definitely different because I'm focusing more on eating more protein and eating things that are keeping me fuller, and kind of working out why you're having the nutrition and the calories rather than just eating it because you're told to eat 1,500 calories. And then the sort of attitude towards it. So I know like before you'd be like, oh, I've got 3 sins to have or whatever, so you might have a couple of chocolate bars or something, and they don't count.
No.
But now like everything counts, and you can allow yourself to have foods that people like might say, oh, how are you having a chocolate bar or something? Aren't you on a diet? But it's not like that. If you can fit it in your daily allowance, then you can fit it in. I think that's massively changed. And then I still have extra things. I might go over one day, or I might go see my friends and we'll have like snacks or something. And I'm not going to stop myself from doing that. And I'm letting myself eat those things and not feel bad about it. But then I don't then go on a binge and have 6 months where I eat what I want and not think about it. The next day you start again with a nice healthy breakfast and start the day going.
Yeah, and that's something that I remember that you were like, oh, I remember one weekend you were like, I've gone out, like you went out like once or twice and you were like, I've ruined the weekend. And I was like, relax.
I had so much to drink.
Yeah, I remember, and I was like, no, let's calm down, okay? Let's calm down. It's Monday, that is such a massive part of coaching that people don't think about. People think that I'm just there to tell you to do these things, to tell you to eat, to tell you to go to the gym. At that moment, the amount of people in the same position who stopped or stalled their fitness journey because they didn't have a coach there.
Yeah.
Do you know? And that's where the value in coaching comes from.
Yeah.
It might not be in day 1 or even day 14 or even month 1, right? It might come in month 3 where you've got yourself to this point and then you're like, I can't be arsed.
Yeah.
And then you don't have like your partner or your friends, like they're like, let's go to the pub or let's have a pizza. And you're like, oh, fine then. And then suddenly, because you haven't had a pizza for like 3 months, you're like, give me 3 Dominoes, you know, and it's just an absolute carnage. But that's where bouncing ideas and just talking to someone and being like, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's happened. Let's move forward. And that's a massive thing that even moving into my new program, it's a little bit stricter and more disciplined, but at the same time, I've got to where I am. Trust me, I eat lots of fast food. You know, I'm not straight on terms of clean eating. So it can be done. You just got to make sure it's in moderation and make sure that you're being consistently good overall. So obviously when we first started, we were doing home workouts. It was strictly home workouts. We were doing HIIT 1 and HIIT 2, and you do that like sort of twice a week each. And you literally, I remember writing notes like, I just about did 5 rounds. I was like, that is horrible. Why are you making me do this? And I was like, just do it.
I think you even said to me when you wrote it, like, I'm not sure if this is too harsh.
Yeah.
The second one was really bad.
Yeah. I remember every time there's been one where you're just like, I just don't like that. It went from like HIIT 1 to HIIT 2. And then the second round, when you got there, when they were too easy, the one called the lung tickler.
Yeah, that was the one.
That was the one that you were like, I just don't want to do that ever. And that one was called Bye Bye Legs, I think. That was the other one I called it. But,
that was the one.
But obviously now you're in the gym, you're hip thrusting, you're leg pressing, you're in the gym. And obviously gym anxiety was something that you definitely sort of had when you first started. But it just shows the progression from that anyone can have, do you know?
Yeah.
If it's someone who goes to the gym already and thinks, oh, I can't do these things, like you're a shining example of how you can start from anywhere in terms of gym work, do you know? Like, and it's just a massive, massive thing that people need to understand is you have to build from the foundation. You have to build the foundations first. So doing the bodyweight squats, like burning the calories and being in the deficit and losing the body weight first. And now we are in, obviously we did a fat loss phase first, and now we're sort of building up that body recomp to sculpt the body, you know, and to grow the legs, grow the glutes. That obviously when in the first consultation you were like,
that was the first
this is what I want that. And I was like, we need to let's steady on here, let's calm down. But we're now at that point now where I can give you these complex sort of compound movements and you're able to do them. But if someone was to start at the level that you were first at and went in the gym, it would be extremely hard for them to maintain that, or at least feel good in the gym, because you just physically wouldn't be able to do some of the exercises that you're doing now, you know? So what would your advice be to anyone who is considering working with QPT?
I think that was a nice face.
Should I do that again? I was taking a piss. Yeah, okay, keep that in.
I was also waiting for the question on the last one. I was waiting for there was a lot of talk in there.
Give me the homepage video on your website.
I think I said this to you. We have like the monthly catch-ups, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, my only regret is the fact they didn't start sooner.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can say. And I think that's the biggest advice to someone, is the fact of, if you're in the situation I'm in, I'd gone to sort of like extreme levels and thinking of extreme things that I needed to do to be able to make myself happier with how I feel about myself, that I don't know why I didn't do it beforehand. Why have I wasted so much time not just doing this and speaking to you and listening to someone who knows what they're doing? Like, it's okay to ask for help. Like, that's why you do it and you specialize in it. Like, if you want advice on what I'm doing, you'd come and ask me. Like, it works both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think with the gym side of it, I don't think I even realised I had gym anxiety, because I used to go all the time before lockdown. And then going back in there, I was like, I hate this. Everyone's looking at me. I don't like it. I don't want to be in the weights bit. All the guys are in there and they're all massive and it's scary. And it's not like that at all. Everyone's there just minding their own business, doing their own thing. And it's great because I'll go on a machine and think, oh yeah, what am I doing here? And I can go on your app and look at the videos that you've done, look at your advice, see how to do it. You saying, I don't know, have your arms at 45 degrees or something. It's all in there for you, for anyone who needs it.
Definitely, and obviously that's going on to like the app that I use was obviously True Coach, and I've put a lot of time, and obviously I invest in the app as well to make the experience for the client or like yourself as easy as possible. You go in the gym, there's literally notes that I've written for you. So they're like personalized to each person. If we've spoken about something specific that you need to work on, then it's obviously written about it. There's a video of me of some of them, not all of them. I haven't done the cable kickbacks video yet, but that will be in there soon. But the majority of the videos, there's me doing it so you can see it. It's all personal. And obviously you've got, if you really need help, you can message me and say, I can't do this. What else can I do? I remember you messaging me saying,
when I was away.
You were like, there's not this machine, what can I do? And I was like, straight on it, I was like, right,
gym,
do this. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's the level of coaching and level of service that I say this to people all the time. This phone is like attached to me. Like, if my phone's away, I'm like, my clients might need me. I'm like, my clients might need me. So it's constantly on me. So I'm trying to be a little bit more relaxed, but at the same time, like if my clients need me, I go forward with it. So the next question is, what was required of you as an individual to have success on the program? Or what did you have to commit to or step up to?
I think you said to me in the first meeting, and you were basically like, if you're not going to commit 100%, I don't want you on my team.
Whoa!
Not as harsh as that, but like in like a nice way. But it was
I was going to say,
like...
clip that, but I'll get no more clients. Well, actually, that might work with a new lot, but no. But yeah, I know what you mean. I'm very much, because I know that I know I can change any person that comes to me. I know I can change their life. It just depends on their commitment levels.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't sit there and go, if you don't want this, don't bother. Just don't bother.
It was something along those lines. It stuck with me, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But I felt like if I'm getting 100% out of you, I had to put in 100%. And I don't think I realised like how important the steps were and how important the calorie deficit was and all those kind of things. So that's mainly where things have changed, and you have to invest in. You don't obviously have to go to the gym, but going to the gym 4 days a week, getting my steps, eating the right food, make sure I'm hitting my macros.
There you go. See, all these things
Tick,
you wouldn't
tick,
have.
tick.
Yeah, you're just ticking them off. And as I said, you've been one of my most consistent clients in terms of, as I said, communication, making sure you're doing the right things, and even though like your own self-belief and your own sort of how you view yourself does not reflect on like how well you've done and how well like on paper you've done, but that's the main thing about the C90 is obviously to build confidence and build self-confidence, which I know we have, but it's still a day-to-day sort of thing. Like some days I'll be like, how we doing, Paige? You're like, not good. I'm like, okay, cool, no problems, right, we've got some extra work going today. But so one thing that I want to go through is like, what are the, if any, misconceptions about having an online coach that you have realised being on the program?
I think it's difficult misconception of all coaches because I've never worked with anyone else. But I think, like I said earlier, you kind of have that assumption that someone's going to send you a generic meal plan. You might not eat half of it, or it might be really restricted, and they're just going to message you once a week. It's going to be the same thing as like a weigh-in with a Weight Watchers kind of thing. You have foods that you can eat, you get told what to do, and if you don't do it, then that's your problem because you're paying them either way. Yeah. But it's not been like that at all. It's been completely the opposite.
You're like, I've got to check in with him. Oh my God, I've got to talk to him again today. I don't want to talk to him. If it's a Monday morning and like you're like, to be fair, you've been pretty good on checking forms and stuff, always doing it. But some people I know that they, they're like, oh my God, I haven't done it. Oh no, please. But you've been really good with that. I think
that's a good thing because it makes you actually think about it. And I think you've said a couple of times, I'm a bit harsh on myself. Like, it took me a while to give you a 10, so I'm not going to give myself a 10 yet.
Of course.
I think that's quite good because it makes you think about the week as a whole and rating it separately on terms of sleep and nutrition and everything together. So I think it's really good to look back and see how well you've done or things you can improve on.
Yeah, definitely. And reflection on any part of your life is crucial, you know? So like the check-in forms are there. They're not there for me, do you know? They're there for me to make sure that you're on the right tracks. But at the same time, the reason I split it up into all the different sections is because you might have had a great week till Saturday. Sunday morning comes, you're like, oh, I'll do my check-in. And then suddenly something happens that ruins your mood. Yeah. And then your whole... If you said, how's your week? You would have dropped a couple of points just from that one moment, you know? Yeah. So that's why... Sitting at the end of the week, and I say spend as much time on the check-in form as you can because the more you reflect on it, the more you can learn and the more you can then implement next week. So that's why I've put in there, how are you going to make that better next week? What's your measurable goal for next week that you're going to try to attain, you know? And these things, even though some people are like, oh, I can't be asked to blooming fill that out. It's not there for me. Yeah, it's there for the person to self-reflect because then I can just say, because I know what you've done well and what you haven't done well, but I want you to understand that so that then when you're not being coached by me or when someone is sort of, they go, yeah, I'm all good, I want to just go off on my own, you can do the same thing and be like, do you know what, my food wasn't actually that good. Instead of being like, I did it perfectly.
Yep.
It's down to everyone else. The food I was eating must have been wrong, you know? So the last sort of question before we go into if there's anything we could think of. So how did you find managing the workouts around your work life? So in terms of how did the program just mold around your current lifestyle instead of, like you said, some coaches try and just throw a generic plan on you and be like, do this.
Yeah.
Like, how did the C90 sort of mold around your current lifestyle?
I think it was quite good because we kind of transitioned from doing the home workouts, which were about half an hour, 4 days a week. And I like working out in the morning. It's kind of one of the things I've always done is fasted cardio. Obviously now I'm having to eat carbs before workout in the morning, which is weird. But, so I think it kind of transitioned from there, and then it's built up to an hour's gym workout in the morning, which I never thought I'd be that person getting up at 5:30 and going to the gym before work. But I like doing it and I enjoy it and I enjoy going. It sets me up for the day and gets me in the right headspace. I get half my steps done and then I'm ready to go for the rest of the day. And then after work, if I'm tired and can't be bothered to go for a walk or something, I've done most of my steps. I don't have to rely on doing a workout afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think it's been good, sort of like I can contact you and say, I'm away with work. I can't do my workout today. It's going to be tomorrow, or it's going to be later today, or I haven't got as many machines. I'm only going to do half an hour, and you'll change the workouts, especially when we first started, to something that I could do. I think I sent you a video of what the gym was and you wrote me a plan and was like, well, this is what you've got, so I want you to do these things and fit in. So that's been really, really useful.
I remember you sending me the video and I was like, I've got my work cut out here. I was like, oh God.
It was a bad gym.
I put the video in your testimonial video. I remember putting it in because I was just like, oh, it's gym footage. Yeah. But like, you just like, this is the gym. And it was almost like, not that you did, but some people would be like, oh, it's a rubbish gym. Just don't worry about it. I'll just skip this one. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
You're not skipping this one. But going back to like the mornings, you know, like I'm very much a morning person. I train I say every morning. As many mornings, if I do train, it's the morning.
Yeah.
Like, how has that helped you? Like, you've ticked off all your workout before I even do my morning check-ins, you know? I've got a few clients who do that. But like, how has that helped you unlock more? And as you were just saying, like, you've already done your workout, you've already done your steps. If you then get to the end of the day and you don't feel like it, you've done everything, you've ticked the boxes. Yeah. Whereas if you were to be like, oh, I'll just do it later on, you get to later on, and that's where the discipline and the motivation, that's where not 90%, but you know, a lot of people do drop off because they're like, oh, I just can't be bothered. I'd rather sit and watch TV or whatever. So how has that sort of switch to morning stuff or sticking to the morning stuff, how has that benefited you?
I think because I don't think I'm motivated. I don't think every day I'm like, yeah, I want to go work out. But my alarm goes off, I get straight out of bed, I go and clean my teeth, wash, get ready, go to the gym. And it's kind of just habit now. I've been doing it for so long that I just get up and do it. Yeah. And my husband's there laying in bed like, I don't know how you do this every morning. I'm like, it just happens. I just get up and get on with it. But then it means that I feel better for the rest of the day because I feel like I'm awake and I'm ready to go. I'm not just rolled out of bed and got dressed, especially like if you're working from home. Yeah. And I go into my office, it's like 30 steps, if that, from my bedroom. Like, you're not awake, you're not ready to work.
No, for sure.
And then I feel like you're more productive throughout the day. And then you're not stressing in the evening. Like, sometimes I'll do like 3,000 steps if I'm at home. I'm not going, oh, I've got 8,000 steps to do before the end of the day. It's like 6 o'clock at night. You can't put that pressure on yourself. Whereas the more you get done in the morning, then you don't stress about it as much. Yeah,
definitely. And you just saying about like how it's become habit, as much like as however long we work together for, you're going to continue this for a long time. You know, it might not be to the same level. It might drop down to maybe 3 workouts, 2 workouts, but you'll still have the habits instilled in you, you know, and that's another thing that people don't understand. Like, it's not just a quick fix. It's not just an 8-week body blast. No. Like, this is a complete lifestyle change. I work one-to-one to make sure that your life is changed and you can leave. And I can genuinely say, I know that person is not going to have to come back to me and be like, oh, Quinn, I did a thing. You know, like, whoops, I've slipped up, because I know that you're going to continue the progress because you don't want to be back in the position you were in when we first started, you know, and that's just the person you are, you know?
And I think that's changed massively. Because even this morning, I've got the day off work and I got up and did my workout and that's just how you start your day now.
Yeah. What did Pete say? He's like, you can't meet Quinn after not going to the gym in the morning.
He was like, you've got to get a pump on. Quinn.
Perfect. Well, listen, it was lovely speaking to you. It was lovely going through everything.
Thank you.
And yeah.